Hi, my name is Miles McGann. I'm the CEO of Progressive Orthodontics. I'm here today interviewing a very good friend of mine, Dr. Brian Liao. Brian was originally from the US, has been working and living in Taiwan for the past 2 or 3 years.
5 years now.
5 years now.
It's been
Has
5
really
years.
Been that
I
long?
know.
My gosh, time flies.
Yeah.
So he's had the experience of working in a dental practice, both here in America as well as in Taiwan. And Brian also teaches all over the world, so teaches on every continent for me and teaches a lot, as well as does a tremendous amount of case diagnosis. So we're going to be talking about a wide variety of topics from kind of those different topics, and I think it should be quite interesting. So welcome, Brian. Thanks you for coming out to your hometown since you are from Irvine.
Yeah, I actually grew up in Irvine, not so far from here, and I moved to Irvine since I was 10. So this is like a homecoming for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So your original practice was out in Arizona.
Right.
So tell me about your original practice when you first started your practice up and built the practice from where it was.
I graduated, right after I graduated, I decided that, I wanted to do ortho. And I didn't realize what kind of ortho I wanted to do because I thought about going to an ortho residency program. But at that time, right after I graduated, I needed to make money because you just got married, you gotta make money. And I moved to Arizona and started my practice around 2003 or 2004. And I decided that if I have to start making money to raise a family, there's no way I can go into an ortho residency program. And at that time, I went through all the brochures and everything, and I was looking for these like the longest program available. I didn't want a weekend course because I told myself if you're gonna do ortho, you gotta do it right. And the only brochure that I found that had the 2-year program was POS. And at that time, I was still debating about POS. So what I did is I called up the headquarters, and I believe Iveta was the one that answered the call. And she's like, well, let me have somebody call you. And within an hour, Dr. Viviano called me. And it was so wonderful to hear an instructor calling me. And he answered all my questions. And the question that really made me decide POS was the one, was I asked him, if you guys went out of business, if POS goes into bankrupt, would I still be able to use any appliances to make it ortho works? And he goes, of course. And we're here to teach you a ortho concept, not to sell brackets. And to me, that was the selling point.
That's always been the foundation.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have our own system, but our own system's designed to be more efficient.
Absolutely.
But all of our students can use whatever system they choose.
Absolutely.
And we give you the background to do that. But we do teach our own stuff because we think it's the best thing we possibly can make.
Absolutely.
So one of the interesting parts when you were early in your orthodontic career is that you did a lot of case diagnosis with my father.
Yes.
Tell me about how often you would send your cases to my dad.
Pretty much just about all the cases I sent to your dad in the beginning, and he was able to help me out a lot. And gradually, what we were always told is to find an instructor that you feel comfortable with and just work with them. And your dad was one of the instructors I really, really felt comfortable working with. And he actually taught me a lot of other stuff through case diagnosis. And that's where I learned a lot of stuff from your dad.
Right.
Yeah, and then I still remember the day when I graduated from class, Dr. Dana actually came up to me and asked me to be an instructor. And to me, that was a great, great honor, but I didn't feel like I was ready. So I went through a lot of years with your dad, with Dana, kind of mentoring me through the program.
Right. And so you did diagnosis not only during the program, but after the program for a number of years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember my dad even telling me that you were one of those guys that he was getting cases sent to him. He's looking at going, he knows how to do this, and all he's asking for is a check at the end of the day.
But that's how you learn.
And that was kind of your concept of, I'll just keep sending cases, anything that I had the slightest bit of concern about.
Of course.
But you were doing the full workup,
doing
everything. And my dad would just go, I'm just basically going through here, and in 5 minutes I can check it, send it back to him, and off he goes.
Right, and that's how you learn. To me, that was sort of like an insurance policy.
Right.
So that I don't get myself in trouble.
I remember that term you gave me was, this is my insurance policy.
It is your insurance
I'm willing to pay a little bit to make sure I never run into a problem.
Absolutely. That's the way it works.
So then when you became an instructor, I will always laugh because I was one that recruited you to become an instructor.
You did.
And we had become good friends over the years. And so I was hammering you, and you were the most
I don't know if you remember that day when you came to me at the update, and I believe it was 2012 update. After class, you came up to me and said, Brian, I want you to teach. I said, I'm not ready. He's like, you're ready. I said, well, I want to hear what other instructor says about me before I was ready. So he had to go around asking Dana and all these guys
But it took me
you
years
a while. It
to
took
get
you
you
a while.
to do it. Because the entire time, my dad and Dana, everybody else is going, look, this guy is good. This guy's ready. And
I don't know about the good part, but I thought I still needed to work on it.
And you told me, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready.
No,
I think it wasn't until you were done with the instructor class, you said, well, okay, maybe I was ready.
But I mean, in the instructor class, I still learned so much from your dad.
And your case diagnosis, the word methodical kind of jumped out at me because I think what I kind of tell everybody about you is that everything you approach in a very methodical way. And that goes to your case diagnosis. I mean, you do thousands and thousands of case diagnoses per year.
Yes.
How do you approach each one that comes in? Because I know you have your system.
The truth is, I learned my case diagnosis through your dad.
Right.
Don told me exactly how he wanted me to do it, and ever since then, I've been doing it exactly the way he wants it.
Right.
And from what I've heard, I've rarely had any issues.
Right.
The students are okay with my diagnosis, and that makes me very happy. So I usually tell in every case diagnosis, I tell them exactly what the issues are and how to approach it, and here's what to expect and what could happen if the case does not go well.
So you've learned a systematic approach, no matter what the case is from the start.
Yes.
You're looking at the exact same things every single time, making the same determinations.
Absolutely.
And that allows you to diagnose thousands and thousands of cases at a very high volume with accuracy.
Yes, and to me the most important thing is you got to be there for the students after the case diagnosis is done. So I always tell the doctors, if you ever have questions, please feel free to email me. Sometimes we do have a certain limitation on how many consultations we can do, but if you have a question, you need an answer, I'm always there for you. Because that's how I was trained.
And that's how you treat your patients too.
Yeah, of course.
A big part of this is a reflection of how you practice in your own practice.
Right.
Where, the patient has to be, you have to take care of them and give them enough information, treat them in a systematic way where they know what's happening and they know what to expect from you.
Right.
And that's how you build practices.
Absolutely.
Now, going back to that concept of building practices, you've now built two of them.
Yes.
Because when you moved to Taiwan, you had to take a year off and get your license, and then you decided to start up another practice in Taiwan.
Yep.
So what did you learn the second time around? Since most guys don't have the opportunity to build a second practice, they build one and they work that one to the end.
Yeah.
Starting from scratch after having so much experience with your first practice, what did you see differently?
Well, the second time I opened a practice, I actually had the luxury of having a partner who was a periodontist. So this time around, I kind of really just focused on what I wanted to do, which is ortho and implant.
Right.
So for my part, I do a lot of full mouth reconstructions where I set up the case orthodontically, and I do a lot of implants myself. And I have a partner who's a periodontist, so now when I have issues with soft tissue management, he goes in there to help me out. Now we do have other associates who does a lot of other works for me. So, and then this is kind of a running joke in my office, I haven't done a filling in the last 6 to 8 months, which is perfectly okay with me.
Right.
I'm very happy with that. The other day I walked back to my clinic, I had a patient that was waiting for me for 2 months for a veneer. And I'm sitting there sweating because I haven't done a veneer in over a year. And I try to pass off that patient to my associate, but they wouldn't have it. Yeah, because they're expats from the States.
Right.
So they're I want you to do it, you're gonna do it. I said, okay, I'll do it, but but that's it. But it makes me happy because all I want to do is ortho implant, which I'm doing a lot.
And allowing you, by gaining other skills, I know you worked very hard in ortho, and I know you worked very hard to learn implants and gain that skill.
Yes.
It allows you to pick and choose what you want to do.
Absolutely. And this is, to me, the fun part of dentistry, because I no longer have to sit there and just kind of treat it as a rat race.
Right.
Where you just kind of go through the motions every day.
Yep.
I go into clinic right now, and I'm very, very happy. And I still try to get in about 20 hours a week.
Right.
Which is pretty impressive considering how much I teach.
Seriously. I don't know how you do it, man.
Well, the practice in Taiwan is a little different because sometimes we go in there from early in the morning, we finish at night. So the day before I traveled to California, I was there at 9 in the morning and I finished at night. That's a 12-hour session. So I still try to get enough, hours in there because I have a lot of ortho patients I still got to see. Yeah.
Update in Asia.
Yes.
So you're going to be teaching it coming up here in April.
Yes.
Tell me how you're approaching that seminar.
That seminar is about surgery, so I would like to approach it from the student's point of view of what kind of cases is surgery, what kind of cases is not. So to me, that is where a lot of the doctors are actually missing out. Because I'm still getting a lot of case diagnosis with the records where the doctors should be treating it as a surgical case, but they don't know the limitations are. So what I like to do when I go into that class is let them know exactly what the boundaries are.
Right.
If you're going to cross that boundary, you need to know exactly how to manage it.
Right.
To me, that's a really, really important seminar. So I'm hoping that all my Asian students, when they see this video, they understand that this is a very, very critical seminar for them to show up.
Yeah, I remember when you first saw it and you said, we have to make sure this happens.
We have to make sure it works.
Because these students need to see
Absolutely.
this seminar.
That's why we're still trying to bring it back to Asia, because I really think the Asian doctors are missing out on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Case finishing. So you also teach case finishing.
Yes, yes.
So tell me about how you approach that class.
And when I go in that class, because that class was already written by Dr. Taylor, and all I had to do was pretty much follow what he has to do with a little with a little of my flair. When I go in there, I usually tell the doctors finishing really starts with alignment, because you can't go to finishing unless you have the alignment and the mechanics correct. So when I teach that class in the first half day, I usually go back to alignment and mechanics stage and tell them exactly what they need to do correctly. And after that, we go into finishing, and then we tell them exactly what to look for in finishing. We do spend a lot of time on wire bending, so sometimes the doctor gets a little overwhelmed, but I always tell them, when I learned wire bending, I had to buy like 200 wires. And I went back and I just practiced and I practiced until I had blisters in my hand. But that's the only way to make it works.
Right. And last one, mechanics. So tell me how you approach mechanics.
Well, I haven't taught that class yet, but I'm looking forward to it because I know Charlie and Shaq wrote a really nice class for that. I heard very good reviews about it. So what I wanted to do when I go in there is I'm hoping what I'm hoping to do is gather a lot of the email questions I've had over the years, and I'm just putting it in a PowerPoint. I'm just going to tell them this is what all these doctors had issues with, and this is how I would have approached it. To me, that's actually going to make the classes more interesting because now they see, oh, these are real life questions that other doctors have. So if we go in there with that approach and then we show the cases after that, I think the doctors will appreciate that a lot more.
Sounds like some exciting classes.
I'm hoping it is.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Perfect.
It's been a pleasure, as always. It's good to see you.
Perfect.